In 2019, I got out of the Marine Corps. And in 2020, I got presented with a couple of different job opportunities that if you would have asked me 5 years prior, so like around 2015, 2016, while I was still in the military, I would have taken them in a heartbeat. But the thing is that I got out of the Marine Corps for a reason. I wanted to pursue and felt like I was called to different things outside of the realm of the military. And although these job opportunities were let's just say my life as far as my finances would be a lot different currently. However, I am so thankful that I didn't take them. I didn't take these job opportunities. I'm not going to get into details of what these jobs were. All I can tell you is that they were outside what I felt like my calling is. And I'm just picturing now how my life would be different, and I don't think I would be happy. Although for the years leading up to now, I made way less money, and um, my life is just way different. I am so grateful and so thankful because of it. And I wouldn't say that it was one of those decisions like I got offered three different jobs. Two of them was easy for me to say no to, but one of them I had to think on it, and I I had to get back with this person who offered me this specific job, and it was something I was qualified for. It was something that I know I'm good at, and it was something that would have provided a lot of financial security and a lot of benefits for me and my future family. But at the end of the day, I just was recalling that I told him I'd get back to it with him in 24 hours. And honestly, I got back to him with 2 days later because I needed some time to think about it. And over that time, about 36 hours, I was just thinking about for the first couple hours, I was thinking, wow, that money would be really good. This was um, well above a six-figure job. And at the time, I was almost humbled and honored that I'd even be offered the opportunity. And I was thinking about the money, and I was thinking of where I could live and what I could buy and those things. But then I started thinking about people that I knew who were making that same amount of money, who were making um, were able to buy certain houses and were able to buy certain cars and were able to afford things for their family, but they were miserable. They were very miserable to the point where it was affecting their health. It was affecting not just their mental health, their physical health. Some of these men, these are all men that I'm speaking of. Some of these men that had these amazing jobs were literally having heart attacks, and they were literally depressed, and they were just let it consume their life. And I talked with some of these men at the time, but not specifically at when I got offered the job, but just over the time of knowing them. And I just asked them why they didn't leave, and they said I can't because I'm providing this for my family and blah blah blah. But I'm like, it's not your calling, and they're like, it's really hard for me to give up these checks. And because they built a life around something that provided a lot of money but not a lot of purpose, they were kind of trapped by the security because then they had a family. They had a wife, they had multiple kids, and some of you even had grandkids, but they felt trapped in the comfort and security that this gave them. And I realized that it wasn't, they weren't viewing it as they felt trapped because of a decision they made. They felt trapped because they felt the need to provide, which is a very valid point. However, I realized I got to that point because they kept compromising prosperity over purpose. And I'm so thankful that up to this point in my life, I don't sacrifice prosperity over purpose because I just think about those conversations with these men. And then some of these people I am referring to, some of them you could Google their companies. Some of them they aren't necessarily the owners of these companies, but they are very high up in these very prosperous companies, like fiscally. I'm sorry, financially, and they just are miserable. They're not like miserable at home. It's not like that they don't like their wife or their kids. They are miserable because they don't feel like they're living with a purpose. And some people think that money solves everything, although I am trust me, I am one that's like, I disagree with money can't buy happiness, but I realize that money can't buy purpose and money can't buy joy. See, happiness is a surface level laughing, smiling, whatever. And so if you say that money can't buy happiness, try being unhappy on a jet ski. It's impossible. Try being unhappy taking a all expenses paid vacation with your family. You can't. But it can't buy purpose and it can't buy joy. Joy is an inner feeling of satisfaction. Joy is an inner feeling of like true joy comes from the workings of your heart and the overflow of that um, into your life. It's not a surface level thing. Okay. So I am filled with joy that I am living the life I'm living. I do this podcast for free. It actually costs me money to do this podcast. But guess what? It provides me a purpose. It provides me a joy. And yes, this is tailored to my coaching business. That coaching business, although it is difficult and it's not making me, $200,000 a year yet, uh, it is providing me purpose. That business I have, the Simple Disciplines Coaching, because I get to help people. And what sparked this episode today was a conversation I had with a client today. And when she came to me, she was kind of like on the cusp of finding out her purpose. She just needed help exercising her purpose. Okay, so I'm not going to say that I'm the reason why she found her purpose. I'm saying I did help her fulfill her purpose by giving her disciplines, giving her routines in order to make her dreams a reality. And she said this past Sunday, she got really emotional because she was talking with a friend, and she said she was overcome with this feeling of joy, feeling of satisfaction, knowing that she's fulfilling her purpose. And she is in her 50s, I believe, and she has never felt more satisfied in her life than she does right now. And the thing is she's just starting to find her purpose. She's just starting to walk out the call that God has for her life. And I want people to realize that if you choose purpose over the money on a check, it is my firm belief that prosperity will come of it. Here's a couple reasons why. For one, if you're fulfilling a purpose, you are going to feel internal joy, which thus in whatever you do creates a better product, whether that is in your relationships, your business workings, your ideas, but also your drive. And you're probably going to do that thing, whatever your purpose is, better than most people that it doesn't align with their purpose. Okay? And let me backtrack a little bit. Her purpose isn't necessarily like ministering to people or mentoring people and things like that. Has to do with the fitness industry and helping people in that way. So she is helping people, but it's not like she's, helping people make money. She's just providing a solid atmosphere for women to train and to work out, but she is getting to do these group classes and like she's kind of like molding people in the fitness realm. But that is her purpose. And so some of you guys have way different purposes than other people. Some of you guys, I see in my Instagram, you try so hard to be an entrepreneur. And I'm not saying to quit, but what I'm saying is that your purpose. Is the business you're pursuing your purpose? Are these things that you're doing part of your purpose? Most people are not called to be entrepreneurs. That's a fact. But a lot of people are called to be great entrepreneurs. Okay. I'm actually not sure if that's a real word, but I heard Andy Frisell say in his podcast, and I'm kind of reiterating something he said because it is true that not all people, shout out Andy Frisell, Real AF podcast, go check it out. A lot of people are not called to be entrepreneurs, but a lot of people can be great entrepreneurs, which is basically somebody who works within a company but is a very strong person within a company, a strong title or whatever you want, however you want to picture it, somebody that works right under the entrepreneur or whatever, because you are great at some of these things that entrepreneurs need help with, and therefore you are going to make that person a lot of money who is then going to pay you a lot of money. And that's just how the world goes around. And I just kind of want to put this episode out here as like a gut check for people if you're living your purpose. And if you're not, then to start finding it, start doing whatever you can to live that purpose, because it's going to have long-term benefits in your life. I was almost taken back when I got off the client call today, because I had to just like take a minute. I was gonna do. I was actually. I mean, it's 2:30 p.m. right now. I started to set up an hour ago to talk about this podcast, but I just needed a minute to like. I was just felt so humbled and honored that I was able to help somebody find their purpose. Not necessarily find it, but help them exercise in order to work in their purpose. And I know she's going to listen to this, so you know who I'm talking about. So just know that, like what we talked about earlier, I'm not going to say her name on here, but just know that what we were talking about earlier, you, my client, I'm talking to you. Just know that it resonated with me, okay? That being said, it's almost like now I'm like, man, I want to do this for everybody. And I don't know if that's exactly my purpose or not. I know for sure I'm still going to keep coaching. Sometime my business is going to come in waves because my availability and another company I'm starting in with football coming up. I know that it's going to be in waves, and that's okay. But this is something I can do for the rest of my life, even if it is just on the side. I give my clients 100% of my effort. That's why I don't take very many at a time. I only take as many as I think I can handle as one-on-one. And people have tried to help me grow my coaching business a certain way. And some of the stuff I've tried, but I don't keep following through with it because I don't really know if it's for me. Like a lot of people want me to have certain ways to where I do like group coaching, or I have a lot more ways to get a lot more leads. But the thing is that like I try to explain to them that my value in this is that I am doing this one on one, like in a more of a private setting with these clients. And yes, we do have a community aspect, and we do group calls and things like that from time to time. But the most of what I focus on is directly being able to help these individuals become the best individual they can be in order for them to essentially fulfill their purpose. And that comes with the basics of disciplines and routines of success in order for them to reach their goals, to reach their dreams, and ultimately fulfill their purpose. And I think there needs to be a cultural shift. And I think one is kind of happening. Honestly, I think COVID kind of sparked it for a lot of people, where they were working 9 to 5 jobs and they were making the checks, and they were at home with their family. And some of them took it as off time. Some of them worked from home, and they're realizing that there's so much more to life than the daily grind. But there is more to life, but you can only enjoy those things in life if you are fulfilling your purpose. Because all these things that are not fulfilling your purpose are going to do is burn you out. And then what does that leave for your family? What does that leave for your spouse? What does that leave for your friends? What does that leave for you? And there are people, and I know them, who are literally like, I know somebody who's a great accountant, and that is her thing. Okay. And I know someone who's a graphic design, like a freelance graphic design, and they work for other companies, and that is his thing, and he does great. And there are some people who are meant to work in offices and do those things. Some people have like a gift for that. Some people have administrative gifts. I know people who are career assistants. Like they are like for like, not like, small time assistants. These are like assistants for like CEOs and influencers, like social media influencers. And they get paid very well. They do kind of like what it looks like in the movies, where they do all their back end, like scheduling flights and these things, but also organizing a lot of the day to day of their life. And that requires a type of skill, attention to detail that they're gifted with. And although they will probably never be a CEO, they are fulfilling a purpose, and they get compensated quite well. Okay. And their lives are great because of it. And I keep thinking, I'm like, some people keep chasing this castle on a mountain, and really you're better off served being in a cabin in the woods. And of course, I'm going to keep using the analogy of climbing the mountain or whatever, but what I'm getting at here is that like some people are chasing the wrong thing. And it kind of brings me back thinking about the episode. I should probably go back and listen to it myself to make sure I'm quoting it correctly, but I talk about this on one of a previous episode, the why for your why. And some people kind of like lose amongst the rat race. They kind of lose their purpose because they think that if they're providing checks for their family, or they think that they're able to buy this or buy that, that they're serving a purpose, when in reality is your purpose, especially as a father, is to be there for your kids, to be there as a spouse, and to be there as a husband. And I think a lot of this is getting lost in our society of always wanting the newest iPhone or whatever. And listen, I want everybody to be like rich, but that's just not in everybody's calling. I personally believe that as far as when it comes to financials, I do believe that I am called to be someone who is, at, on the more higher end of income earnings, not because of selfish reasons, but to be honest with you, and I don't really say this a lot, but I'm in generally a generous person generally, with a lot of little things I do, and I want to be able to provide other people. And sometimes I want to start a business like this other company I'm starting. I haven't really done a full announcement yet. We're kind of doing soft launching right now, because in the future I want to be able to employ people. I want to be able to lead people. I want to be able to help, have like a second chance program for felons, to be able to kind of like, not like necessarily mentor them, but to kind of give them an avenue where they can get their life back on track. And if they choose to be, listen, I think that the mentee chooses the mentor. I believe that that's a far better, like, instead of me going, I'm going to mentor you, like, kind of just be available for a mentee to choose me as their mentor. And it can come in kind of a lot of different ways. I've had several different mentors in several different areas. Just kind of how the relationship works is that usually the mentee should approach the mentor, but obviously the mentor already had a precedence where they're providing value for that person. But just to be available, to be a mentor for people. And I believe that that is my calling. And in order to do those things, I have to grow a company. I have to grow a business. I have to make X amount of dollars. I have to be able to provide this kind of financial stability for my family, while also to be able to be with my family. I know that was kind of a bit of a mouthful, but what is your purpose? If you don't know that yet, make sure you're choosing purpose over prosperity. And if you choose purpose over prosperity, prosperity will follow suit. So whatever you do it at 100% effort, and good things will come of it. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Listen, if this episode has resonated with you in any sort of way, please share it. We have gotten to 40 Spotify followers. I think we're at over 40 now. And last episode I said we're at 30 something, but now we're at over 40. So people are hitting that follow button on Spotify. So keep doing that, please. Rate 5 stars, share it with your friends. And if you want to message me and tell me how this episode was, or tell me that you hated it or didn't like it or have any questions, message me at Simple Disciplines on Instagram. Okay, guys, have a good one. Thanks for tuning in.